Sportsline Podcast here on the CHCH multimedia platform. I'm Bubba O'Neill. Hey, I'm always proud to brag. Who doesn't want to brag? The Golden Horseshoe is a hotbed for winning teams, athletes, executives, as well as events. Now, following a dynamite execution of hockey's Senior AAA championship in Dundas last year, well, in just over a month, the trophy that has been contested for since 1908 will once again be up for grabs at Flamborough's Harry Howell Arena. To chat about the 2025 Allan Cup Challenge is one of the most respected sportsmen in our region. And of course, when it comes to hockey, Don Robertson, I love bringing you in here. Not only do you have a history of knowing what you're talking about, you've experienced it all, my friend. Thanks for joining us.
Bob, it's always wonderful to be here.
I'm telling you, hey, Dundas Real McCoys, of course, we saw it here on CHCH just about a year ago. In front of your home crowd, in your own rink, winning a national championship. But of course, when you win, you become the champion, and everyone is pointing at you. And this year, even though you're in contention, it's been a little difficult, hasn't it?
Yeah, we suck most of the year. We didn't have the success we hoped for, but it's attendance driven, right? I mean, thanks for the accolades. But we're back-to-back Allan Cup champions, and we struggled a little bit last year as well for the same reason. Our guys play a lot of hockey. So when you're in a national championship and the guys got to give you a commitment till almost the 1st of May, it's hard to make November and December really relevant. And we were already in the tournament as past champions. So we knew we were going to the Allan Cup. So you don't exactly have to be in first place all year. Wentworth, they were in first place. They didn't run the table, but we beat them once, and it was the last game in overtime. And Stony Creek are always strong. They'll be in the Allan Cup again. And, of course, we're in the playoffs. We'll probably chat about that for a second. But, we didn't – our biggest challenge was attendance. Our players are okay. It was just getting them all there. And we had our best group of the year this past Saturday night in Stony Creek when we were fortunate to beat them 5-1.
And that would be that's a semifinal game to get you in. Obviously, as you said, you're in already, but you're looking to win the Robertson Cup once again as well too. So let's go to the regular season here. A couple of names I want to bring up here, and I think that stand out for you. Some of the high moments. Brad Bonello with a 10-point game. That's incredible.
Yeah, Bones can really light it up when he gets an opportunity to, and you can really tell from the bench if he's going to be going that night. And if he's going, he's a handful to stop. And he got a natural hat trick in one shift.
Come on.
He did. I don't think I've ever seen that before. Like, who gets a natural hat trick in one shift?
It's incredible.
Let alone a period. Like, he did it in one shift.
Well, I thought, I guess with the good things are going, you didn't want to, or someone like, hey, take a seat on the bench?
Well, we didn't get a chance to get him off. And then you get to the point, why take him off?
Wow.
He's going to score every 30 seconds or 25 seconds. So
yeah, that's a tough one for the goaltender and the opposing head coach, I'm sure.
Yeah, no, they weren't happy.
In goal, Mike Mole. And I know you've balanced some other goaltenders as well too, but Mike Mole again was a winning goaltender if I remember correctly in the championship game last year.
No, Ryan DeMello was.
That's right.
Mole didn't play. He hurt his knee in the last playoff game.
That's right.
That was very concerning because we knew DeMello was a good goaltender, but he's not Mike Mole. And Mike Mole has a stigma with the Real McCoys as being very hard to beat, rightfully so. And Molesey has been playing goal as junior since, I think, 2000.
He's in his 40s, is he not?
Yeah, early 40s. And he's in tremendous shape. I mean, these guys the guys are getting older. They take care of themselves so much better than back in the 80s when, they were having a butt between periods in the dressing room, right? And so the world's changed so much. But Mike Mole has never missed a fundraising event, a Cactus Festival parade. Whenever we say we're going to do something within the community and, we hang on to that, we're more than just a hockey team, Mike Mole loves it. And he participates in everything. We had an afternoon game he came to. His wife and his beautiful kids were there. And, he is the perfect senior hockey player after a pro career.
I think it's amazing that he would still, and as you said, you credit the fact that he commits himself to fitness. He's out there in the community doing all the things that you want your players to do. But the fact that he still has a passion to play, at that age, after going through so many leagues and things, I believe he got called up to the Islanders for a couple of games. Like, what a career.
He was, and part of it was after he played, and I think it was Acadie. He played in the OHL, then he played some university hockey, and then the CBC had some kind of a series or a tryout series where they guaranteed a couple guys NHL training camps, and he won that, and I forget the name of the series, and it was short-lived, and it was the Islanders, and he signed with the Islanders and was up for a couple games. He didn't play, but he was with the team, played in Bridgeport. So you're right, he's put a lot of miles on, and to see a guy with that dedication, I mean, that's what the Real McCoys are all about.
You talked about attendance, and of course, folks, we're not talking about attendance in the crowd. We're talking about attendance in terms of your team. This is Senior A hockey. Guys sometimes have other things to do, and real life comes in. But you've got some guys also that are kind of dipping themselves in the Hollywood side of things too, and that is as a guy that's leading an organization, you want your players to be playing on the ice, but they're big Hollywood stars now.
Well, we've got that, and another one, we're lucky we had Chris Campoli, who works for the NHLPA. He didn't play during the Four Nations Cup because his job is, he works for the NHLPA. He was at the Four Nations Cup. So life, family, and job can sometimes get away. Like, we don't pay them. We give them enough to get to the rink and home, buy a beer, and have a plate of wings after the game. I mean, they're not making enough money. It's not a part-time job for them. So they have to want to play, and I think that is part of our successes because they do want to play. Mike Mole, Chris Campoli. But when you talk about the Hollywood side of it, Cam Fergus, who has been with us for a while, he's won the last 2 Allan Cups with us, local guy, St. George guy. But he's in the stunt business and the movie business. And the fact that he's a hockey player, when they're going to make a hockey movie or a hockey series, Cam Fergus is the guy they call. So he played 1 game in the last 3 weeks because he was working on Youngblood.
The remake of it.
The remake of Youngblood, and a lot of it was shot in Dundas. A bunch of it was shot up in Frilton, up at the outdoor rink, a little bit in Barrie. So he's been all over. So what happens as soon as he's done that, playoffs come, he says, oh, and by the way, so him and Brad Manello left the week ago Sunday to go up to Sudbury to shoot Shoresy. So they're both in Shoresy, you know. So you mentioned Bonello has a 10-point game. There's not a lot of fun. Well, I hope he gets 15 points for Shoresy. I don't give a damn about Shoresy. But two of our premier players are up monkeying around making Shoresy. And I don't watch Shoresy. I've never seen it. Apparently it's pretty cool.
I'm surprised. I thought that'd be a show that's right up your alley.
It is. It's a streaming service on Crave, and my only streaming service that I'm interested in is Parrot.
Wow. Did you really say that?
Yeah.
Congrats. Who paid you off?
I know how this works.
You apparently do. Let's talk about the big announcement. You just blew me away there. We're going to have to play that over and over again. That's going to be in a pro. You just got yourself in a promo with our CHCH promo department. I know they are listening. Well done. Big announcement. You guys did so well in hosting the Allan Cup Challenge last year. Top notch. But it's going to be here in this area as well, too.
It's going to be like 700 meters from where we're sitting right now, starting April 20th at Harry Howell Arena. And what a great name for an arena for Harry Howell, who was just a wonderful ambassador of the game and lived for a while in Carlisle and everything else. I'm really glad they did that naming right thing. Yeah, they're going to host Rod Millard, who owns the Wentworth franchise, and his group are going to put it on. And they're going to, we talked in the summertime. Tell us what you need, but they got a handle on it. I mean, they're going to put on a show, and there'll be 2 teams from Newfoundland. Stony Creek Dundas will be in it. We're in it by virtue of being defending champions. That's changing the format. So whoever wins it this year will go to Newfoundland next year to participate as defending champions. And the AA League within the OHA and Hockey Canada, they will be sending their league champions.
Can you tell me about this Ontario Elite Hockey League? I've never heard of it.
Okay, so I represent senior hockey at the OHA board level, and it was 2 or 3 years ago, 10 years ago, we started trying to lure them back. Durham, who we have affiliated some players with, Port Elgin, which is now called Saugeen Shores, Ripley. I mean, it's an 11-team league. And they were what was usually considered as an outlaw league or unsanctioned, so they're outside of Hockey Canada.
Okay.
None of those leagues can compete for the Allan Cup because they're not under the Hockey Canada umbrella. Okay. So we talked to them, I met with them. So they joined the OHA again last year. It was kind of fun. We had a meeting at the OHA office, and they said, we're going to do this. What do we do with the cup? And Murray Nystrom, who works for the OHA, used to coach Brock. We go downstairs, and there's a storage room there, like there probably is here, with some paraphernalia. And the Hugh McLean Cup's there. These guys are looking at, the one guy's from Port Elgin and saying, Port Elgin won. The other guy's going, well, Durham won this. Like so they have a tremendous history with the OHA.
Right.
And so as a bit of a bonus this year, because we thought we were getting a team from British Columbia that just, I mean, they're paying their own way to get here, so it's an expensive proposition. They'll probably go to Newfoundland next year. I don't know how they think that's any closer from Powell River to Newfoundland or wherever they're coming from. In any event, so they were afforded the opportunity to join too, and they will be permitted to pick up half a dozen players to strengthen themselves because they're a AA league and it's a AAA championship. So when we do that, and the committee that I sit on, and Rick Richardson is our commissioner, and Mark Tuck is the executive director of the OHA, and Ivan from Newfoundland. There's a committee that run the Allan Cup now. So to strengthen teams and to broaden the reach, AA leagues can now challenge for the Allan Cup, hence the name the Allan Cup Challenge. And if they're dropped down, if they're a AA league, we let them strengthen. We did that last year with Newfoundland, and the last 2 years with Newfoundland, and the Dundas Real McCoys beat them both times in the finals. First year in overtime. Last year wasn't quite as exciting because we were way up. Like we beat them 5 or 6-2 or something like that,
But is there? Do you think? And again, this will take time. This is this is no different than any other league or any other sport, where you can see a time where that AA league can compete with the AAA team, AAA teams as well too, in some time.
Yeah, sure. But the AA league again, I have a bit to do with them because as a senior rep at the OHA board, they're quite content. I mean, they call themselves a small town hockey league. Like they had restrictions on population. Like we don't want, like we couldn't get in their league. Dundas couldn't get in their league. There's too many people in Dundas. I know we're part of Hamilton, but you know, if we were under 20,000, we could probably get in their league.
Right.
Wentworth probably can't get in their league now if you classify them as Waterdown because they're building 7,000 houses every 15 minutes in Waterdown, right? But they have a comfort zone in Durham and Tavistock and everything else. They have a very competitive league, so it's working for them. Do they want to try and go to the next level? Well, what might happen out of that, Bubba, is a couple of their teams get real strong and say, maybe we should go up to the AAA league. Like that may happen. And I know they're looking at expansion now, so they may add 2 or 3 teams next year. Pardon me, but our goal is to have them have a real good, strong, competitive league like we want to do.
I think that's fabulous because I think at the end of the day, I think if you're the Ontario Hockey Association, the more AAA, I shouldn't say AAA, the more senior hockey being played across the province, the better. More teams, the growth is good.
It is, and there's a couple unsanctioned leagues. The one of them I find a little bit of humor in because they call themselves minor pro, and they have restrictions on how many pros they can have. I think they can only have 3. So, but you know, they market whatever way they want to. They can't compete for the Allan Cup unless you're a member of Hockey Canada, and in the OHA through the OHF, you can't compete for the Allan Cup. And the Allan Cup, as you noted, has been competed for since 1908. The actual Canadian Championship started in 1891 when they competed for the Stanley Cup. So the Ottawa Silver 7 won it, Yukon won it, and then it got competitive. Montreal started, and Toronto started paying players. They got kicked out of the Canadian Amateur Hockey Association and took the Stanley Cup with them. So then senior hockey then started competing for the Allan Cup. Sir Montague Allen out of Montreal, who was an industrialist.
I think it's a wonderful thing that this continues to go on, this tradition that is happening here. And as you said, this year's event will be held at the Harry Howell rink, NHL size rink. I mean, obviously you have the crown jewel in one of the older barns, but for one of the newer rinks, I mean, this one works well. Change rooms, concessions, multi-purpose meeting rooms for teams, for other teams as well too. This is gonna work out well.
It's a great facility. It's a twin pad, as you know. So there's lots of dressing rooms and lots of amenities that will make it easy for everybody. Because every traveling team, including us, will come in. We'll set up shop. Tuna and his guys will set up our dressing room. We'll have it for the week. You know, you have it till you're beat out, and then you got to go home. We don't have far to go home. Hopefully we go home Sunday or Saturday night. But it'll be a great facility. You're right. J.L. Greitmeyer is the absolute perfect senior hockey arena. Like, it seats 987. You can stand about 1,400, but it's a bowl. And it just, when you walk into the rink, you can almost smell the ice and the popcorn, right? So it has such history. But for new facilities that have amenities that J.L. Greitmeyer doesn't have, Rod Millard and his group are going to have. It's going to be wonderful. They're going to have. Rod's owns Shy's restaurant over here, right beside his investment company. So the food will be outstanding. They'll get everything down pat. I mean, it'll be a pretty good experience if you want to go up there.
In a way, I'm going to say jealous, or I don't know, is it relieved? You've put in so much work into this over the last couple of years. And as you said, I'm sure this is one where they're going to do an outstanding job of hosting. Are you kind of glad to maybe take a little step back, or will you get right back into it?
No, we're like I got a huge head, but I had like 4 hats on, right? Good thing they fit, but yeah, we're pretty content. Our executive group, they're not kids anymore, and to put that pressure on them to do it 3 years in a row would be cruel and unusual punishment. They really deserve to be able to go up to Wentworth and watch the games. We're not running around picking up sweatshirts and hats and everything else. We're just going to go and enjoy the event. The last time we're not really traveling. Last time we were in an event was, I think, in Newfoundland in 2015. And it's such a pleasure just to take your guys, especially in Newfoundland, because you know who you got. Right? Like, somebody's kid isn't getting sick and they're going to miss the game last minute, or, you know, somebody's got to take a work assignment and everything else. We'll have that challenge here. But I'm hopeful that we have a full commitment from, you know, all of our players. There's going to be a couple hiccups, but, you know, we're going to have the lion's share of our players. We don't, we're pretty deep. Kind of showed that Saturday night. You know, it was 1-1 going in the third period, and we got a couple breaks. You have to get a couple breaks to win a hockey game, but you know but we're playing Stony Creek this Friday night in Dundas. And those guys have won back-to-back Robertson Cups, and they have absolutely no interest in letting Dundas Real McCoys get to the finals. And they're a great group. I mean, we're competitive on the ice, but off the ice, you know, a lot of the guys, and they're a real good hockey team, and they have a lot of pride. And elimination games are always tough. So if they get, if they win Friday night, we're back in Stony Creek on Saturday night at 6:30. So if you want to see some pretty good hockey and a kind of a intro to the Allan Cup, it was pretty intense Saturday night. There was no friendship out there, I'll tell you.
I love it. Every time you guys do get together, it's a war out there. Seeing that you know so much about what's going on here at CHCH with our parent streaming service, which you clearly know more about than I do.
It's best in Canada.
I'm going to also ask you the inside track. Will the the Allan Cup Challenge final be on CHCH?
We're in final negotiations that may in fact get wrapped up today to secure that and maybe for other events down the road. So it's working with CHTV, they have such a wonderful group, and they care about the community, and they know this is a national championship. The viewership last year was in excess of 200,000. Now, I don't know how they determine that. I mean,
Rating system, it's there.
they're not asking me to count them. But when I got sent those stats and then we shared them with Hockey Canada, I mean, those numbers were pretty significant. And Cable 14 will do the production like they did last year and did a fabulous job.
Outstanding.
For a community cable service, those guys, I don't think any of the sports networks would have done any better job. I mean, I would put those guys up against anybody, and they're going to do it again this year. So there's going to be here's the can. All you got to do is put it on. So hopefully it's Saturday afternoon at 3 o'clock, and that's what we've tentatively talked about. And to have an opportunity to work with CH again would just be a dream come true for the Allan Cup and everybody involved.
It was great last year. It was unbelievable. And you're right. Cable 14, obviously, what was happening in terms of the play-by-play, having like guys like Reed Duthie and them at the desk doing interviews, just a professional, great-looking broadcast. And I'm sure the people out east and the people out west that aren't used to seeing broadcast done by CHCH or even Cable 14, they must have been blown away.
Well, you know who was really impressed was the rock star Rod Black.
Yes.
I mean, we had Rod Black do play-by-play. Rod Black is committed to doing play-by-play again this year. Mm-hmm. So last year we have former Real McCoy coach and player Rick Vive doing the color, who knows the league, right? And he's familiar. He played in that rink. And you got Rod Black, an award-winning play-by-play sports journalist.
Blackie's the best.
Legend. Called me yesterday.
Yeah.
He's in Arizona watching his son play ball. Mm-hmm. Are we all set yet? I said, call me tomorrow afternoon. So, I mean, he's eager. And when you add that kind of quality to a broadcast, it's kind of saying, this is really important. And no disrespect to Reed Duthie, who did a great job on the desk, but he gets tied up with the Bulldogs.
Yep.
And you can't even be 100% sure he's around, because if they make a run to the end, you know, you or I are going to be doing play-by-play. You can't do that. Well, you could do it. I sure can't. But it's no, it's going to be really exciting. It's great for the community too. I mean, it's good for local restaurants. Rod's Shy's place will be packed every night. So, you know, places in Waterdown, places in Dundas. The hockey community is pretty small. You saw when you watched the broadcast last year, JL Greitmeyer was full. And what a great atmosphere, right? You got outstanding refereeing, you got outstanding broadcast crew. The broadcast is great. The good guys won. That's back to back. I'm going to share something with you. Here's something we want to do this year. Obviously, this is difficult to do. No Canadian team has ever won 3 Allan Cups in a row.
Wow.
Since 1908. I say Canadian team because Warroad, Minnesota, I think in the 90s it won 3 straight. So an American team has won it 3 straight.
Oh, I didn't know that.
But a Canadian team has never done it. So this is no walk in the park to get that done. But you have to set goals. And we like doing something that nobody else has done before. So winning 3 in a row would be a lot of fun.
There you go, Dundas. Get behind your team and certainly get out to the Allan Cup Challenge. And just about a month away from now, it's going to be outstanding. And get out to the Robertson Cup playoffs as well, too. Before we leave, I do have to ask you one more question. I'm going to roll a clip here, and I just need you to respond, okay? We're going to roll the clip.
Sure. He has to get Bubba Marner to pay a price. He doesn't have to get killed. He doesn't have to get beat up, but he's going to have to get cross-checked in the shoulders, cross-checked in the ribs, slashed across the forearms when he's going to the net, into the dirty areas to make a play, because he's so skilled. Like, if he does that at his size and his skill level, he'll be a rock star in Toronto. But if like I said, if Berube doesn't think he can instill that in him and get him to do it, he'll be putting him on the 4th line if they can't trade him. He'll make him pay the price. And the way a coach can now get even, if Marner's in the last year of his contract, when you put that guy in the 4th line in the playoffs because he won't do what you want him to do, good luck with your next contract and getting $10 million. Because last year you were on the 4th line. And that's how coaches can send messages. Sit them out, put them on the 4th line in the contract year. That's the leverage Berube has.
Now, you said on this very podcast, we heard you there. You said that Craig Berube, if he worked his magic, that, as you said, Mitch Marner would be a rock star. He's been outstanding this year, and it makes me wonder why they haven't signed the guy. Now, he said, look, we're not going to do any contract talks in between the season, but give him his money, don't you think?
What part are you astonished at? The fact that I nailed it?
You did nail it.
That's what surprised you? Because it surprises me when I get something right, but I can understand that. I don't. There's always been something with Marner and the Leafs and negotiations and the advice he gets. Mm-hmm. I don't know anything more about it than what I just said, but the rumors I've heard that their negotiating side are hard, and he's not going to get paid more money than Austin Matthews in Toronto. He's not. And the fact that Toronto was prepared to trade him for the kid that went to Dallas,
Rantanen,
that speaks volumes. Right? Rantanen's a pretty good hockey player.
He is.
Marner will get as much as humanly possible if he does well in the playoffs.
Oh.
Because he is not, and everybody does that. They compare Marner's stats to Rantanen in the playoffs. You compare the money he wants. Here's the guy's playoff stats. Here's Marner's playoff stats. If Berube can keep him going, and Berube's a smart guy. I like those tough old gnarly guys that are coaching now, right? There's not many of them left. You know Berube's saying, if you knock this thing out of the park in the playoffs, along with what you're doing in the regular season, you'll make yourself $20 million more over the life of the contract. Because he'll get another probably $2 million a year if he can prove he can be an asset and take them or get them close to the promised land. The problem that the Leafs have got this year, which is a story for another podcast, is they are in a division that's impossible. Like you got Tampa.
That's never going to change, though.
You've got Florida. Well, they could get in the soft division.
This is where they are, though.
I know. Remember when the Blue Jays used to have to beat Boston and the Yankees,
and they still do,
and they still have to. But then now they can't beat themselves. But the East in Major League Baseball isn't quite as strong as it was in its heyday. Mm-hmm. When the Jays were really good, the Yankees were great, Boston was great. The Leafs are now facing that. And is there ever a soft touch? Of course there's not. Because lower place teams get fired up, got nothing to lose, and try and bump up the top teams. If the top teams work as hard as a lower place team, top team wins. But you can get beat. There's no easy path to get out of their division. You know, if they can end up in first place, they get a wild card team. But anything outside of first place, it's going to be a tough road to hoe.
That's why they got to finish first.
But Marner can make himself an awful lot of money, and I think Berube believes in him, and I think he believes in Berube.
Well, I think the way he has played, I think he's actually been a better leader on the ice than I think Matthews. I think something's wrong with Matthews. I don't know what it is. I hurt or playing hurt. But the way Marner is playing, the way he scored that winner against, I guess, Sweden in the Four Nations Cup. Yeah. I mean, it was like a whole new side of the guy that we haven't seen. But he's been so consistent all season long. And maybe it was to the best that he said, look, I'm not talking contract through the season. And it just seems to be the way that he is focused and looking like a guy that maybe we haven't seen before. Well,
I'm a Leaf fan, so I hope so. Mm-hmm. Setting up McDavid to win the Four Nations Cup doesn't hurt your. No, that's not a bad thing to throw in the file when you're negotiating a contract
as well, too. Because he didn't look out of place playing with the bigwigs.
No, I was going to say the mere fact that he was on McDavid's line speaks volumes. Mm-hmm. Like you're playing with acceptably the best athlete in the National Hockey League. And you're good enough to be on his line, let alone set up the game winner, that speaks volumes too. So you're right. I think he's hit another level, but he had to. It's time. They're not a young team anymore. Remember, they'll be good. They'll have lots of opportunities, and all of a sudden you're going like, these guys are in their mid to late 20s now. They're not 21 or 22. You got to win today. Nobody cares what you did yesterday. Nobody cares that we won the Allan Cup last year. They care about who wins the Allan Cup this year. You're yesterday's news in a big hurry, unless you're talking to me.
You're fabulous. Thank you for that on the Marner. I had to get that in there because it rung in my head. You were kind of tough on him last year, but I mean, he has really played well. So I wanted to talk about that. Hey, we're probably going to get you in here again. Maybe we'll get the people from Wentworth in here as we get ready for the Allan Cup Challenge. That's going to be, as you said, right across the street. Thanks for letting the public know about it. You always do a wonderful job here on the podcast. Again, continued success. Again, big game this weekend. Again for the Robertson Cup, and again. Thank you always for coming in.
Bubba, thank you. And take a look at that Parrot TV. It's something else.
What a card. That's your Sportsline Podcast for the day. And if you just seen and heard, we love talking sports. We love doing it on Parrot. If you do know of an athlete or team or event to promote the Sportsline Podcast, you want to hear from you. Please hit the thumbs up, like, and subscribe button. And if you have something to say, we appreciate your comments. For the talented folks here at CHCH that make the Sportsline Podcast possible, I personally thank you. And we'll see you tomorrow.